So who are you?
We really did start at the beginning, didn't we?
Yeah.
My name is Chris Liu, and I'm the co-founder of JSKit.
And what is JSKit, first of all?
JSKit is a company that develops rich features for a website. So you come to JSKit and you want interactivity like you might get on a MySpace or a Facebook or an Amazon. You grab the feature and you just drop it into your site.
And most of the time we see that as a commenting engine underneath my blog posts, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
In fact, we use you guys on Building 43, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah,
but
JSKit is essentially the Robin Hood of interactivity, right? We see features that you might have in a Yahoo or Microsoft, companies that can well afford to develop these features. We build these things out and then we dole them out to the masses.
Now, we're here to see this new thing that you announced at the TechCrunch real-time crunch up, right?
Yep.
Called Echo. What is Echo?
Well, to understand Echo, it's important to understand the context that it is coming in. It would be said in the old days, meaning 3 or 4 years ago, the best place to go to interact with a piece of content was at the website. You know, content is king, and if you wanted to discuss that content, you would go to the blog post or the review of a product, and you would input your thoughts about that particular subject. Over the years, social networks have emerged, and the content itself is now flowing into these networks, right? We share links about a product on Twitter. We talk about them on FriendFeed. We push them out to our Facebook wall. And so the content is actually flowing into the networks, and that's where the conversation is being had. What Echo does is it attempts to rebalance this equation where the social network is inuring a benefit, right, having the content there, and Echo brings back these snippets of conversation back to the piece of content. So you might tweet about a product, but that tweet shows up back at the product. You may talk about it on your Facebook wall, and now those comments will come back to that blog post or that photo.
Now, there's several commenting engines that seem to do that already, like Discuss and JSKit, right? What's different about Echo?
Well, we've been in the commenting industry for quite a while now, a couple of years, and our product, as well as the other ones that you have named, are perfectly good for what they do. Echo
and there's
is,
other ones, you know, Backtype. I mean, there's a bunch of
tons of good companies sort of working in that space, and all really doing minor improvements over each other over the years. Echo essentially breaks the entire mold of this, and it does it in a number of ways. One is it is reassembling the conversation in real time on your post. So the canonical view, the best place to talk about your particular subject, is on your site again. And so the traffic flows that might normally sit on a social network will now also flow, and the engagement will happen at your site. And so there's this natural benefit, right? The benefit to the social network is they get free content, right? They get your blog posts flowing through there. And that's certainly a benefit for you because you get exposure. The benefit for the site now is that the engagement can happen at the site level and not just in the social network.
So does this turn your blog post into like a chat room, basically?
It's interesting you say that. What we're essentially doing is socially network wrapping your content, right? Yeah. When I come up to a piece of content, I know in the back of my mind that other people are probably on that same page, but I don't consciously know that. With Echo, if I leave a comment, for example, on that site, it folds in real time, so that if you're on the page at the same time, you can go, whoa, I'm no longer alone. And I might disagree with you, I might agree with you, but I can now interact with you. And that interaction is what increases the engagement, right?
Yeah, and it's the engagement that's really interesting here, because advertising up to 2 years ago was paid by page view, right? So showing you a page, right. And you would get $10 per 1,000 page views or whatever. Now are we moving toward a model where you're going to get advertising per page minute? Where people are sitting at the page and chatting with each other and talking about that comment and being engaged. And so people, now you're going to be charging by minute, because it's almost like a chat room.
It's interesting. I think what the stream does, I mean, the comment roll was this sort of static thing, right? You went up to it and it was this monolithic brick and it didn't move. Yeah. The Echo stream, this assembly of everything in real time, forces or encourages the visitor to focus on that stream. So the publisher's new job, new responsibility is to curate the stream. What do they push into the stream that is interesting? New content. Maybe CNN deploys Echo and the post is about Obama and they come up with a news story on Obama, or they have a TV show later that night on Obama. So they might inject into the stream periodically, come and watch CNN tonight. And so their job will be to manipulate the stream in a way that is productive for the visitor, right? So it doesn't turn them off, but that does encourage engagement and monetization and so forth.
Now, one thing I've already noticed in the first few minutes of putting it on Building 43, there's a lot more comments all of a sudden. Because we went from 5 comments or 10 comments to 60 or 100 comments, because you're pulling comments that were made over on Twitter and over on Friend Feed and over on Facebook, and you're bringing those all into a real-time stream underneath the post. Do you think we're going to need new tools to deal with more noise, more flow? Because dealing with 100 comments is a lot different than dealing with 5, right?
Yeah, certainly. In our own internal use, we noticed a stark difference. The same thing. A comment roll is this legacy static artifact. When you start interacting with the stream, the minute there's someone live with you in a room, you start communicating and you start chatting, which is this deep engagement. Yeah. At some level, you could see a situation where a music artist, for example, pushes out a new album, gets on with Echo, and is now engaging with maybe 10,000 or 50,000 fans. And so you're going to get an enormous gush in the stream. There could be news stories, posts, photos, whatever, all gushing into this channel. And so the first phase for Echo, an Echo-enabled site, is to increase the volume of the stream. We're not afraid of increasing it. In fact, we want to have it flow and gush like a river. But you can
and for most blogs and most business sites, like a hotel site or a musician site, they're not going to have that kind of flow. I mean, even you watch the average Twitterer, they get maybe 2 or 3 retweets a week, right? I get 2 or 3 retweets an hour. And Guy Kawasaki might get 2 or 3 retweets a minute, right? So there's certain different kinds of usage patterns across the internet. I think Echo, when people put it on there, is going to help them see the actual true engagement across all of these things, right?
Yeah, I think like any new technology, it brings new usage patterns that even the developers don't understand. We don't claim to know how people are ultimately going to use it, but we do understand that it will change behaviors. Yeah. For instance, the very first moment that I push out a blog post that's Echo-enabled, I might tweet it, and instantly people will recognize that the blogger's on the page. And when they comment, when they come to that page, they can actually talk to Guy Kawasaki or Robert Scoble or whomever in real time and get their feedback and understand the nuance of that particular post or that photo or that product. And so it may bring a new life cycle to a blog post where the most exciting point of a post is when it is released into the wild, right? And compresses that engagement to the beginning. And again, I think from our standpoint, it will be to watch those usage behaviors, to augment the product that encourages and supports what the community wants to do, and in essence, get out of the way of our own product.
So for instance, this video that we're filming, it was filmed on a Monday, it'll be out, tomorrow or Tuesday or Wednesday, something like that. We're going to be, I'm sure you and your team are going to be watching in real time what people are talking about underneath this video, right? And people can see, oh, Chris is coming over and answering this, Robert Scoble's in there, Rocky's in there, and that by watching, you can see that that the people in the videos themselves are engaged. So your questions are going to get answered very quickly.
Right. I think the life cycle of a product or an art creation and its distribution into the wild and the feedback is now in an extremely tight loop. Right. The minute you use Echo to deploy a piece of art, let's call it a photo, the very first thing that Echo does is allow each visitor to address to their entire social graph. So if I see your blog post and I say, wow, this is great, it goes simultaneously to my Facebook followers, my Twitter followers, Yahoo IM, etc. So your content is hyper distributed. And then whoever's interested in this particular thing is going to come back in real time. And the feedback of this particular video and Echo in particular, people will be able to challenge us, to support us, to question us, to augment it. with things that we haven't even thought about. And that tight product cycle.
Can we see it up on the screen?
Yeah, let's bring it in. Let's presuppose that Echo here is below an interesting photo that I just took. In the very first instance of the photo, under the From field, if you click From, you identify who you are. I am my Facebook page. I am my Twitter account. I am my Yahoo I am. And so we now have a very tight binding between an individual and the service. Now, certainly if someone wants to leave as a guest, that's fine, or anonymous, that totally works. But in this new web, people are increasingly focused on their own personal brand, identifying as who they are, and then sharing that with the rest of the world.
Now, can you only leave one? Because I know a lot of people are on Facebook, Friend Feed, Twitter, and others, right? Can you put multiple accounts and show people all of your different accounts, or do you have to pick one as your home account?
No, definitely not. Echo supports Twitter, Facebook, Google, Yahoo. We're coming online with MySpace, soon Friend Feed. And so you could, and your blog, you could identify as your blog. So you could identify with all of those services simultaneously, or none, depending on what your preferences are. At the same time, when you address, in fact, Mr. Mouse Guy is showing us, it looks like Google, Twitter, and Yahoo and JSKit are all assigned to this particular user and checked on, and certainly you could check them off if you so chose.
Right.
The next thing that you do in a classic email metaphor is you address your comment to, and certainly you're going to distribute your content to this page, but you now can deploy it to your entire social graph simultaneously.
And you can decide that per comment.
Per comment.
So if I'm in a hot and heavy argument with you,
you take that stuff off.
Well, I can leave that just on the blog. Right. But then I have a really great idea, and I want to make sure that my Twitter users see that. I can put my Twitter back in there.
Absolutely.
And just for that comment, it goes to Twitter.
Yeah, the user has control on how they identify, if they identify, and who they want to push these comments to. Everyone, no one, someone, something in between. So then you walk up to the content, and you certainly could leave a text-based comment. You could add a YouTube video. You could add smiley faces. You could add full multi-megabyte photos. So this is about rich, deep engagement. It's no longer a text-based world. Right. We deal with artifacts that are YouTube videos. We deal with photos from Flickr. We deal with HTML. And so when I want to reply to you, I want to use all of these tools in my response to you.
Okay.
And so when I push this out, when I post this comment, it comes into the stream in real time and simultaneously goes out to my social graph.
Got it.
For those that are interested, they can come back to this post, and it looks like Chris Liu has now jumped into the conversation and said, hi. I now know, these two people now know that they're on the page, on the site at the same time.
Right.
Now, they may be alone. There may be 5,000 other people.
There's also threading here, which doesn't always happen. Like Twitter doesn't have threading conversations, right? It's just flat.
It's just a stream, right. You can reply directly to, it looks like we're getting some visitors from Russia are coming in here at the same time. And so yeah, you in essence have a root node, which is the very first comment that was left, and then subnodes where people are replying to the original notion, which is this is a great comment or whatever the thing might be.
Right. Now, I'm sure if I'm a hotel or I'm a magazine or I'm Huffington Post, I'm seeing this and I'm going, okay, this is really cool and really exciting, but I'm going to lose control of my comment area. You know, right now they are going through and moderating comments to make sure that jerks don't show up and spam doesn't show up and noise doesn't show up. You know, what kind of moderation tools does the content owner have, the page owner have? Can they delete comments? Can they block people? Can they vote them down and say this one's noisy? You know, even if you want to leave it on the page and say this one's not as important, this was really an important comment. You know?
Right. Yeah, certainly. All of the controls that are in the prior JSKit commenting service are still there. You could pre-moderate comments. You could post-moderate them. You can have community flagging. You can ban obscenities. You can filter via spam. So all of these enterprise-style controls are part and parcel with the product. I also think we need to observe that the internet, as it evolves, is moving towards what I would call the death of secrets, towards infinite transparency. And publishers are now competing with transparency, meaning I could be Hyatt and say, I'm not putting any comments up there that are not good ones, right? But consumers understand that, and they devalue that particular content. Hyatt could take another approach, which is to allow a live, vibrant community where they listen to people when they say, I don't like the bed mints, or whatever the case may be, and the person responsible for the bed mints could be on there live and go, well, what bed mints would you like on there, or whatever. And that shortening of the product life cycle, where the producers of the product in real time are feeding back with their customers, it is a giant leap. It's scary. And at the same time, it's amazingly powerful, because the minute your customers understand you're listening, they start engaging with you.
Oh, absolutely.
And you can adjust and conform and reply in real time. The tool itself is meant to conform to the particular publisher, not the other way around.
Right. Now, if I have a WordPress blog, and I don't have JSKit, I don't have Discuss or anything, I just have standard old WordPress, how do I use this? And do I move my comments from WordPress into this? How does that work? How do I get from the old world into the new real-time Echo world?
Well, I guess there's two ways to look at it. In years gone by, the only way to get experiences on a website was to write those experiences, actually write the code on your servers.
Right.
And this new widgetized world is essentially a way to assemble a website using applications that don't even exist on your site. And that's sort of this first notion. I grab two pieces of HTML, I paste them on the page, and voila, I have this experience. And I might adjust the colors using CSS, I might remove the JSKit branding and white label the service, and so forth and so on. And that was this sort of first move to widgetization. But like anything, for these technologies to succeed, they need to continue to integrate with the base site. A little over a year ago, JSKit introduced a technology called Sync. We were the first in the market. And what Sync does for the WordPress and the Blogger platform is when it is installed, it reads all of the existing comments from WordPress or from Blogger and imports them into our database. And then as new comments are posted, it in real time updates the base CMS. Okay. And that's done for obvious reasons. If our service goes down, if the user wanted to switch commenting services, if the site wanted to harvest the comment data for some other application, they need assurance that they can have access and own and control that data. And that's where synchronization
So if I
out.
try Echo and I don't like it, I can take it off, and all my old not only old comments, all the comments made will still be in the WordPress commenting engine?
Certainly.
Okay.
I was asked this question by a VC at a conference, and he said, well, wait a second, if you come out with synchronization, you have no lock-in. How are you going to succeed? And our response was, we're going to succeed the way most people do. Innovation, great support, and new products. Mm-hmm. Not because somehow we have your data and you can't leave. The worst thing in the world is to have a customer that can't leave your platform.
Yeah.
Right? And the best thing in the world is to have a customer that knows at any point they can leave, because then you're on even footing.
Yeah. Can you decide per post which system you're going to use? Because some posts really you want that engagement, and other ones you might only want regular old standard comments. And you don't want to see all the tweets and all the friend feeds and all the Facebooks come in, right?
Right. I would suggest on something like that use our dashboard, where you have checkbox control. You can turn off the real time. You can turn off reaggregation. You can freeze the comment roll so it doesn't accept any more comments. All of these things are part of the base product, and they're all checkbox, easy to change.
Okay. And what are we seeing here? We're seeing the two lines of code that because you need to copy 2 lines of JavaScript, right, and put that into your WordPress template or your TypePad template or whatever template you're using.
There's a couple ways to do it. For WordPress or Blogger, you just click WordPress or Blogger, and the plugin takes over and auto installs.
Oh, that's nice.
For a standard web page or some of the other awesome platforms, whether it's Drupal or Joomla or what have you, you just copy 2 lines of HTML and paste them in your site.
Yeah.
So it's copy-paste deployment. Either one is fine.
Cool. And 222. Can we go to building 43 and see what it looks like on building 43? So here's a building 43 video that we filmed a few weeks ago. And underneath you see echo. So you have that same metaphor where you say from, and you can
publish
click on
to,
it and
right?
publish to, and you can post an image. Or now you have some choice. I don't see the video, the YouTube video. Is that an option where I can say I don't want people to bring in their YouTube videos, or can I add that?
Right.
Oh, it is there.
All of the rich text features, adding video, adding photos, adding smileys, are all opt-in by the publisher. There's a dashboard, and you check it on or you uncheck it, and voila. In fact, you could turn off things like Facebook if you didn't want Facebook Connect.
Yeah. And here we can see tweets coming in and Facebook messages. Scroll down a little bit more so we can see. Here's a Google Reader message. There's a delicious,
right?
And there's a real comment somebody left, you know.
An actual comment.
An actual real comment. So you can tell.
The old world comes back.
Now, can we vote on any of these and say this is, you know, the crowd that's coming through here? Can we say this is a really great comment? Can you make this more visible on the site? Because you can see there's a lot of comments there that are sort of noisy.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the things that you observe immediately with building a stream is then curating a stream. How do you filter it down either at the site level on the publisher, and I don't want, you know, tweets in there or whatever it is, and then at a secondary level, at the user level, how do I give Robert the view that he wants? And that filtering is coming into the product and are things that we're working on now, like, as your prescient in that question, will be coming out first. It's in the existing JSKit comment service, and it will come over into Echo within the next couple weeks.
Okay, so we shouldn't expect that it'll stay like this forever. That there's going to be a lot of new features over the next few weeks, few months.
Yeah, absolutely,
okay.
Absolutely.
On that topic to end up? What is next for Echo? What should we expect to see over the next month or so of Echo?
Well, I think the first thing that you're going to see is enormous deployment. All 600,000 sites that are registered for JSKit services will be turned on with Echo. So all of our existing customers are coming with us. Now, they may opt out of the real-time or opt out of the social aggregation. That's up to them. But first and foremost is taking care of our customers.
Building 43, by the way, is the first site. So thank you very much
congratulations
for helping us to do that, because it looks a lot better than our
and
own
an existing JSKit customer.
Yeah.
And then the next group that will come in on the JSKit Echo page is a Reserve Now button, and we will honor the fact that people that clicked Reserve Now and got in line get the product first. Okay. And so we'll bring all of those sites online, and then we'll open it up to the general public. And that'll all happen here in the next 7 to 14 days.
Now, since I'm a heavy friend feed user, and I have a lot of posts that have really rapid iteration. I'm going to try to do that on my blog with Echo. Are you also bringing along the friend feed rapid iteration, the responses that you're seeing? Because I don't think that shows up yet, right?
That's correct. Okay. That is not in the current version. It is an issue that we saw early on. They have friend feed has done a beautiful job with their APIs.
They just came out today with a new API.
Yeah, so. Indeed. They're great engineers over there, and there is access to that data, and we're in the process of bringing that in now.
Okay, so a couple weeks, couple months?
I would give it more in the 7 to 10 day range.
Oh, that's a couple weeks.
There you have it. There you have it.
Well, thank you so much. Is there any last thing that we need to know about Echo? First of all, where do we find it? JSKit?
Yeah, if you go to js-kit.com. -kit.com. Or if you do a Google search for JSKit and Echo, it'll show up right away.
Very cool.
And you'll see it. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, thanks.
Yeah, pleasure.
And see you on the blog after
I
this.
don't think Mike Arrington would have approved of the handshake. I
No,
think
he
would
wouldn't
have approved of the blog. Okay, yeah.